Hello, we're back. Got off even earlier than I expected, so yay, early stream. But also I got some plans later in the day, so might end up being a short stream as well. But I'm online for a little bit, playing a couple games. Queue up, see if we can get a couple wins. Oh, insta match. So the team I'm using is still the same iteration I used at the end of the day yesterday. Not familiar with this player. Double nature hurts. I looked at the type chart, and it looks like my top priority band is Broccolum, then Tolkien, then Gialis, and then after that, just any nature, basically. My team does not do well against natures. Divine's fine. Actually a pretty decent Mitty Moala lead, unless the Garender has energy drink. I'm trying to think if there's anything better. I want these two anyways, because they beat the natures. Yeah. So I just double the Lawali here and kill it, which is pretty nice. Ban the Volphy. If this is a striking Mimit and he hits one of my two natures, that could be really bad. It could be really bad, because like if he steals my Lawali, then it walls itself. It walls Volphy. It hurts Nesla bad, and Zeno doesn't like it either. So the other option I have is to just not pick Lawali. I'll pick Volphy for now. He does pick the Mimit. I don't know, why is there a Mimit on this team? It's not like there's a lot of synergies. There's two physical Tems. It's like I don't even know if it's a striking or landing. I'm assuming it's striking because there's no like cheese landing strats. I'm assuming it's striking. Nessa doesn't do a whole lot. This wall I can get like fast plagues and such. Alright. So there's that, which is nice. He's got nothing to take the double in here, and Lawali will be faster. I won't get the soft touch boost, but that's okay. Gotta make sacrifices sometimes. I'll also get the hold off of my melee moves to deal with Tuvine a little better next turn. If it's a landing Mimit, he could bring it in right now, turn into his Tuvine, and then my turn one is just nothing. But that's not good for him in the long run. And me getting any damage on Mimit is nice. Oh my goodness. So it's really just going to be a landing Mimit for no reason. Yeah. He's got... I don't understand why there's a Mimit. And why it's landing either. There's no synergies for landing Mimit. He has 6 special attackers, so this is probably a special attack Mimit, or it's just like a bulk speed. I don't need Moala for anything, so I'm just gonna Nito the Tuvine, and then swap to Volphy. If he's got speed on his Tuvines, he'll outspeed, and that'll be bad, but... Turbine? Maybe a CPG Turbine? I don't think this will kill it, because I don't think it's a physical Mimit. Yeah. Even a receptive Tuvine. Oh, it's got bait. Okay. I'm just gonna ignore the Mimit for now, because it's just not gonna deal any damage. Hello, Kip. Welcome. He swaps his 2-Vine. Lwally. Yeah. He's making good swaps. Oh, it's a speedy Mimid, so I guess I should have predicted that. Or if this guy's got a landing Mimid on a team that it has no synergies for, and it's really screwing me up. It's very weird to see. I want it, yeah. You saw the pick ban? Yeah, I don't understand. Yeah, it goes down at least. Resin trap my Volphy. It actually would have been better for him if he plagued. Forgot to change trait. It's not like a good striking Mimid team either, though. It's just it's this team. He probably just had the rest of his team, and then was like, well, I'll just throw a Mimid on there so it doesn't really affect your type chart. Striking Mimid's always good. Yeah, it definitely. If he swaps in Platamus, that would be bad. No, he's just gonna take the OX from my Volphy on the Dust Vortex. He just doubles the Volphy, that's fine. Mitty will get some really good damage against Lwally now. I can see spikes the Garunder. I don't think I win though. The Mimit really was really bad for me. Ate my double in turn 1. It had the speed to outspeed my Zeno, which screwed me over there. I mean, 2-Vite eating this is just fine for me. Yeah, would have been better if it died, but it's still good enough. I see, Lwally's got 90 health, or 90%. This does... yeah. 53. I don't know if a TKS will kill, so I kind of have to... well... it doesn't matter really, it's a difference between like 7... I guess I save like 10 stamina. So it probably is better if I just TKS. He's gonna OX when whatever he attacks with anyways, and if he doesn't attack, that's good for me as well. Nothing this Lwally. Yeah. He actually has speed in the 2-Vine. I didn't think he did. If I would have been able to kill off his 2-Vine there, then my Zenorith outspeeds his Platamus, so I get the C-Spikes off on Garunder. And then I win, but now that is not possible, unfortunately. I don't think... I mean, he could get greedy and go for the Mitty. Like, sees he has defib up or something. I almost clicked allergic spread, just in case the Matter Teleport wouldn't kill the Garunder. I hope I don't regret that. Oh my goodness, I'm faster? Oh, I definitely would have clicked allergic spread then. Yeah, oh. I'm totally throwing this game. My first match, it's a warm-up. Always is. Plague and Strangle, yeah, exactly. I don't want to Hypno just in case it's Zen. Plus Hypno would OX me anyways. Yay, nice. It was Coat Platimus too. That was a very interesting match. I'm curious if that player's ranked. Yeah, not running Sweatband on Platimus is pretty monka. And Coat's even more sketch. He's actually a higher rank than me right now. I don't know if that says more about my rank or his, but GG's. It'd be nice if we could just get one more win right now so I can get both the daily missions done so I don't have to worry about it. Because I could have to stop playing at any moment. I don't... Yasuo-kun. Alright, so I'm not nearly as digi-weak. So I don't think I even need to ban the Mulgu. I think I banned the Tyrannac. I don't have any Toxics. So that's pretty bad for me. Thought of adding speed to my guys. Wolfie getting outsped by 2 Prio Gialis. Oh, you're talking about yesterday? That was a max speed Gialis. It was a max speed, max HP Gialis. That's why it ruined me. My Wolfie has 200 speed. It's calced to outspeed max speed Golzy, which is a breakpoint I like to hit, and putting any more feels bad. Right now my Wolfie's pretty tanky. I like its spread a lot. Okay. Probably energy drink on the Garunder. My Wolfie's banned, so I don't have a turn 1 sleep, so I can't lead like Wolfie and Zeno into like Turok, which I would love to do. Only turn 1 sleep option I have is Moala, which, or if this is a Sentinel Mulgu, I just lose. I also kind of want to pick up Tolkien, just because it's really good into a lot of his team. You're on, like, 248 on Wolfie, that was speed. That is a lot of speed. Oh well, we'll just go with the meme. It's available. I just have to hope it's not Sentinel Mulgu, is basically the thing. Mitty check, is that what we're calling the strategy? It does bring the Mulgu, so if it's Sentinel, I'm just in a really bad spot. I've learned I can outspeed his Garunder, or well, I can outspeed base Garunder with my Mitty, which is good information. I wish I got to ban first, or the ban second here, because if I knew he was banning my Tolkien, I would probably ban the Saku. But if he doesn't ban Tolkien, then I get to keep Saku. Yeah, there it goes. I mean, that was his best play, so I probably just should have played around it anyways. Maybe I should invest some amount of speed in my Mitty. Not a whole lot, but I think it's at like 143 or something right now. Base speed Garunder's 139, and base speed Molgu's like 146. So if I invested like 3 or 4 speed to outspeed Molgu's, I could be at least less afraid of it. Yeah, this kind of sucks. Nesla can at least hit Molgu super effective, and Saku neutrally. It's not Sentinel, and it's not Energy Drink. So I have one free turn to click buttons. I could swap here to get a hold off. Today is the day for Mitty to prove himself or become sanbi. Yeah, basically. So far it's actually been decent. Can't really attack with Mawala here because I'll wake something up. So it's just, do I want to swap into Nesla to threaten out the Molgu? Which is probably what I want to do since it's going to be useless into Nox and Saku. Rather than Mudred Zeno, which will be useful later into... or just with sleeping. Probably E-Drink Saku, that makes sense, yeah. I was thinking that too. This is better than watching the VOD. Hello, Bossy. Welcome, glad you could make it. Alright, so my Mitty is faster than the Garunder, again. So that's huge. But it does like no damage. This is a highly defense invested Garunder. He has nothing in the Molgu slot to take a T-Strike. So, like, I could Electric Storm for chip on Garunder, but I don't think I need it. He's more than likely going to Nox Bomb Nesla and swap Molgu for something else. Yeah. That was no surprise. But that just means Mitty gets to stay full health. And getting rid of Garunder, which is one of the main threats to my Digis, is good. Even though I can't get rid of it here. This will probably do like barely over half. Oh, well, it's still a Garunder. Now I just double swap to my crystals here. Even if like the Nox gets a Hypno on the swap, my Zenrith has Energy Drink and my Mudred has Resistant, so it doesn't matter. It's just that if Garunder does... Clay Ball. Clay Ball would be bad. Or Water Jet if it has it. Most don't actually run it. Iso. It does nothing. Toxic Ink, good. I predicted the Toxic Ink into that slot, that's why I swapped a Mudred into that one. Because it has Resistant and only takes 1 Toxic Tick. M-Buff for the culture? Yeah, you didn't have to tell me to M-Buff, I already know. He's got nothing against Zeno. Sea Dust to save stamina, because it still kills Garunder. This could tink Zeno and that would feel bad, but... yeah, who cares about that? Stare, what's he gonna hit me with? The Boomerang? Boomerang doesn't kill, even -2. Zenrith has way too much in the stat department. It does kind of suck that it gets the alert, though. Yeller. This is a really good time to bring him a Walla. Do I want to bring a Moala or Mitty? I'm leaning towards Moala. Mitty's usually better in late game situations. Nox probably has Diabolo, so that's something I have to think about. I'm actually going to double the Nox this turn because of that. It has to stare again, or else it's gonna get slept next turn. Or has the... I have the option of sleeping it. First aid kit or Diabolo? First aid kit. I'm really surprised he stayed in on Yowler. Quite surprised. At this point, I actually wish I brought Mitty in, because I could actually attack the Nox this turn. Mudred still has use. I bring in Mitty now and just transient, I think. And just hope he doesn't swap for the Mulgu, yeah. Alright, Yeller dies to one more of those. Yeah, Mitty takes this really well. Yeah, that's nothing. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Mulgu swap in here for the Yeller. And while getting damage on the Mulgu would be nice, if I can just delete Nox, that would be even better. No, I can split. Transient on the Yeller, and then just MT is good. I can't put the Mulgu to sleep, which is an issue. But as long as I can get it in range to die to a Nestle AWW, we're good. I am running out of options to deal with Saku, which is not cool. If the Mulgu's smart, it'll attack my Mitty, since Mitty will not outspeed it. And Moala will, and well, it'll die to poison anyway, so yeah, he definitely attacks Mitty here. The sad truth. Rip Mitty, you'll always be remembered. I was actually expecting the soccer to come in there. So interesting. I guess since Zener is -2, it might die to the turbo here, which is bad. Which is very bad. Blue screen? That's whatever. Yeah, Medred's back to normal. Resistant value. Sokka with marbles? What? Ah, it does have Petal Dagger. I was really I was really hoping it wouldn't. Yeah, this is a very interesting Saku. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I don't know if I can win this though. I have to see spikes and see dust and then hope that the deluge kills next turn. Because I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get like Frond whipped here on Zenerith. I don't think there's any way. I don't think the deluge kills. Come on, Zenerith, take it! Yes! Oh, that was too close. That was way too close. Dust did 20-ish? I thought it did like 15. Oh, that's my 2 wins in a row. Pressure gone. Poof. There was never any pressure, but it is nice to get those because I want to perfect my Volphy so that maybe by this weekend I can have a perfect Luma Volphy to show. Yeah, because tomorrow I can finish up both of these. And then that'll be a ton of feathers. And then I might even be able to just grab all the hotfixes I need rather than buying boxes. I was not Mitty Redemption. Oh yeah, I decided I'm just gonna use Mitty. I don't think my performance in the regional is really gonna matter. The interregional probably matters a bit more, but that should be next patch. So hopefully we get some fun stuff and there's more options to work with. For now, I just want to see if I can make top cut and make some people laugh. That's what it's all about. If other people can enjoy this game as much as I do, it would be great. Hopes on the patch. I just want there to be a whole bunch of moves added, honestly. I like... Besides nerfs to the obviously broken stuff, they removed so many moves, I want them to add it back. I would love it if they actually just added like 3 or 4 new moves. Like, I don't care about new traits. I don't care about like huge Tem reworks. Give me some more moves. This game really needs them. They asked a whole bunch of... They put a whole bunch of feedback posts over the last couple weeks. I tried to give like good in-depth explanations on each one as to what changes I think would be a good direction. I hope that they listen somewhat. Got a BRB? Alright. You saw a couple? Yeah. I think their balanced direction and mine are different, which is really unfortunate. You know how you said ask for advice and tips? Well, you have about 5 questions if I could help. Yeah, sure thing. Go ahead. If it's all comp-related stuff, I should be able to give a pretty good answer. If it's not, I might still be able to. Or I should say, if it's Temtem related, I should be able to help somewhat. All comp related? Alright. I've had people come in here asking stuff like Nuzlocke and story stuff, And while I played through the story, still have like somewhat limited knowledge as to like what spawns on the perfect route and where can I explain for people to go and find specific Tems, which Tems are the best ones in the Nuzlocke and such. What's the best tactic to beat Rari in Nuzlocke? Time. Grinding. I I have no idea. I struggle with Rari in the speedruns. He was the one who kept shutting down all my speedruns, so I just kind of gave up. I tried coming up with a different strat than the typical, like, size much SciPad anyways. Your Rem, alright, is he streaming? I know he's actually picked up streaming lately. If anyone doesn't know, Yurem was actually the top 3 place player at the Invitational. So, it looks like he is streaming. We can head over and raid him when I end the stream. I still hopefully can stream for like another hour or so, but we'll see. So there's actually no natures. Panther, thank you so much for the sub. I really appreciate it. Here's my Mudred. Mudred was a really good answer to Auhi. Versus, has speed tiers changed in new updates? Because you always use 234 breakpoint, and I think it's causing your downfall. So never force 232. First of all, it's 232, not 234. 234 is creeping 232, if that's what you're doing, which is fine. So I would say if you have a fast Tem on a mid-range team, 232 is a good breakpoint. It's also worth mentioning it's only a good breakpoint to hit if your Tem has priority. If it doesn't, don't bother. Mr. Cash. I should have banned the Drakash. What am I? Yeah. That wouldn't have helped much either. I still couldn't have led Mitty Moala because of the Auhi. So he actually has 2 counters to my sleep strats. I mean, Volfi's the best option here. So yeah, 232 on faster team, or on a more mid-range team, but with a fast Tem that has priority. 221 is good if it doesn't interact with Amphitheater offensively or defensively as well. You can save a few TVs that way. If it's a slower Tem, like if it's, in my opinion, if something is like lower than Nestle's base speed, which is like 65, I would not hit 232. I just wouldn't. I don't think it's worth it. But like there's better breakpoints for slower Tems to hit. Because if you have something, for me, Molgu's a pretty good example. Banned one of my Earths. Don't want to have to force Volfi alive. So Molgu has like 146 base speed, or speed at base, and Turok has 162. Turok is an extremely common Tem, and it's usually run slower. So it's actually very reasonable. It's like less than 100 TVs in speed on Molgu to outspeed base speed. To outspeed base speed Turok. So speed breakpoints are super flexible. And it's not like there's a specific rule for them. Ugh. Yeah. Tolkien's really good into the 2 Vine, but that's about it. I would have to see your team to get any more specific, just because it's hard to give a general answer for something like that. Like 232 will, unless Amphitheater speed gets changed, will always be, in general, the best option. 222 speed Gario, do not take advice from Panther unless you're having fun. In which case, he gives great advice. No, just not the Gario. Do not run that much speed on Gario, that is insane. You'll attempt to respread the team using, because you usually prioritize HP and attack, then speed, but decrease your HP investment for speed. It all depends on the Tem. Here with Volphy, I max out, I put the 200 speed breakpoint to outspeed base speed Golzy with priority, so I can get a Sludge Gift off before I get Oshi'd. And then I max HP, put stamina, and put the rest in special attack. Max speed Grumper. At least there's a purpose in that because of slowdowns. But even at max speed, Grumper hits like what, 245 or something, 249. It's not a lot. I should have doubled the Drakash. I just wanted to get rid of the bait on the 2Kai. It's actually another landing mimic, and he transformed into my Lawali, which is really bad. Because if you guys were here in my earlier match, oh shoot, if I did plague the Drakash, it would be in range to kill with another Sludge Gift, but it's not anymore. Streamer battle? Yeah, basically. He got the turn 1 lead. He also has the pick ban lead because I didn't ban his Drakash. The Sentinel actually offers a ton of utility, so he kind of wants to keep it alive here, but that means he has to eat a Dust Vortex and a Resin Trap. And nothing on his team wants to take that. Moonflank could survive on like 10% HP. And probably same with 2 Vine. Yeah. I basically have to ignore his Mimic for the entire game and just hope that it does like no damage. Like that. His Mimic's faster than my Lawali, so it's very likely an HP speed Mimic. Yeah, I do not kill it. Wouldn't be a bad turn to get holds off on Xenareth. Xenareth isn't going to give me like infinite value this game, so it may have been worth it to keep the Lawali in to Plague to finish off the Moonflank, because it's faster than my Volphy, and Moonflank, if it has enough speed, could outspeed and get a hit off. Yeah. If I left my Lawali in, I may have outsped, and that would have been better. It's hard to say. Run Drakash, which is interesting. Like I said, I don't really need Xenareth for anything. I actually just stay in and knock back here, I think. Summarize everything. You would want to prioritize the base stat points of the individual Tem before any other stat. No, not necessarily. Yeah, it's... It depends a lot on just like what your build, kind of like what you want to do. Because like there's a lot of Tems in this game that, like, so Zenarith is like a defensive, like HP defense tank. But I actually put significant speed in it to reach the Bugolzi breakpoint and then max out its special attack, which is actually its lower of its attacking stats because it's channeler. So like that's it's just one example of a Tem that you wouldn't want to do that on. That happened to be on the field right now. Panther again with the questionable advice. The only reason you run fast Gario is for Cold Geyser to give colds. Yeah. The burn makes it so I don't kill the Drakash. If I didn't get burned, I'm pretty sure, like, even though it's 4 times resist, I could do 10%. Yeah, it lives on 2 health. That so sucks. He wanted you to run 500 HP, 500 defense, Strange Vest Osakai. Interesting. He actually swapped his Mimit out, so it won't be Lawali anymore. So that's kind of important. I know his Mimit doesn't have Deluge, or it doesn't have bait, so I can just hit that for free. CPG probably on the... Oh, that works too. Way too complex for you? You think you'll stick to FPS shooters? Oh no. I mean, I would say a good thing to do is to just see what other people are playing and kind of use that as a baseline. Does anyone remember if this Mimit's faster than me? Because I really don't. The 2-Vine is... It's hard to say. I think I have to allergic spread here though. I know I was faster with Lawali. I don't know how much speed invest it has, if it's max or not. I want damage on both of them right now. I think I have to click allergic spread. Oh. Okay. That works. Doubling into the Mitty slot, maybe? These 2 guys faster than my Lawali, which is interesting. Hydro 2K? Yeah, I didn't even see that. I didn't even pay attention to that. I think he got me though, just because of the double 2-Vine. If I had hold off on my Moala, I'd be okay, but I don't. I need Matter Teleport plus Telekinetic plus Transient to kill Mimit. Basically. So TKS does 10%. That's not a chance. Not a chance. Max HP Mimit, nuts. I guess the I probably should have strangled the real 2-Vine because that one is actually attack invested. But then he would still win, so. Yeah. Speed invested 2-Vine got me. GG's. I don't think there was any way I could have won. Not after the double 2-Vine. It's another really strange team to have a landing Mimit in, though. I'm not really sure what landing Mimit offers that team. But it worked against me, so. I think the thing with Mimit is more like when you're pick banning, you have to actually always think about your positioning. I never actually think about the positioning of my right slot. So, like in that match, having my own Lawali used against me was actually really bad. But once it got to double 2-Vine, I definitely didn't win. Having to play around alert turns and Sentinel is really difficult. There's so many forms of anti-sleep in this game. Pick ban versus a landing Mimit is tough. Yeah, it's even worse when you don't know what type of Mimit it is. Because if that Mimit had turned into or been stuck as a Lawali for the entire game, I would have won against it in that late game. Because I wouldn't have had anything to hit me super effective with. But because it had transformed into a 2-Vine, it did. Plus, when you don't know what speed breakpoints other people are running, it's also difficult. Because if I knew better, like what speed his 2-Vine was, I could play around it better. When you're playing with sleep, knowing speed tiers is really important. Because if they're faster than you, you can attack and not have to worry about waking them up and letting them get a hit off. But if you're faster than them, you can't do that. But you can get sleep off before they attack. So. Yeah, like in that situation at the end game there, sanbi would have been better. sanbi would have been tankier. I don't think it mattered though. Had Ram do more damage? Just a little. In that situation. Mental's only resisted by crystals. He just played well and saved his crystals until the very end game. When I didn't have a whole lot I could do against him. I needed to save Lawali and or Volfi to deal with them. But I had to use those to kill Tukai and Drakash. So I'm not really sure what I could have done much differently. I probably had to create a board where I could use Moala better. But Mudrid was banned, so I couldn't bring it in with Mudrid and get resistance bonus. Or like, and prevent the sleep from resistance. So I either had to bring it on the board with one of my 2 mentals, or bring Moala in with Mitty, so I have stack 2 mentals, or with Zenarith with energy drink. And every turn with Zenarith, the opponents had alerted, so. It's actually kind of anti-synergy to have Moala and Deluge. It's almost like Moala, if you lead Moala, it's really good, because then you can swap it in later and still get the Deluge synergy without canceling it out with alerted. But if not, it actually becomes really hard to find a time to bring in. Because I wasn't able to bring in Moala on any turn I had Volfi or Lawali, because it would have just put them to sleep. I think what I really need at this point is just more practice with the team. The way this team plays is very unique. I can't say that there's another play style that plays real similar to it. It's highly, highly synergy reliant. Whether that's synergy with Deluge, synergy with or like ways to sleep or not sleep with Hypnotist. Yeah, I guess those are kind of like at least for the core. The rest of the stuff, like the Volfi, Nesla, Lawali, are just type coverage. Use physical sharpening Mudrid to use the Moala turn. Have to be off hold. Like Mudrid actually gets refresh, so I could just do that. But I like Dust Vortex as a move. And I haven't really run into situations. Ugh. I haven't really run into situations where I wish I didn't have. I don't know. Brain's kind of off. I was too angry at seeing like a 3rd Sentinel user in a row. Kind of nuts. Molgu, Drakash. That seems so strange. Drakash is one of the worst Tems in the game, so I'm not sure why we're seeing it twice in a row. I don't think waters have gone down in popularity at all. Oshiara, Nesla, Platimus. I have to lead Volfi. So I can threaten the Drakash. It might be a Triphytologist Nid to pair with the 2-wire, it's hard to say. It's kind of like a little meme strategy, but it does exist. Mudrid has Crystal Move, stronger Crystal Move, Earth Move, and stronger Earth Move. Yep, basically. The other option is like Crystal Spread Move. Good ol' Parzace from the Chubby Simps is a huge fan of Quartz Dirt over Dust Vortex on Mudrid, and I disagree. Okay, Mudrid's pretty good here. Because I won't get burned by the Drakash. Vortex too much of a bomb to pass? Yeah, especially with iron coating. Against my Moala, that makes enough sense. Fake the handcuff to push off null. The handcuffs is on the Wally. I figured he would pick this lead and then just swap turn 1. He banned Moala so that he can pick Volphy. I have to watch out because not only does he have Drakash with Sentinel to push off or to prevent sleep, but also Common Factor will push off Deluge. So I have to really watch out for that. I pick Mitty for sure. I mean, obviously it's Mitty. He doesn't know that. You don't know that he didn't watch yesterday's stream or isn't watching this one. Because there's Toxics, I think I pick Lawali. Ugh. Maybe Zenareth. Zenareth Nesla? Yeah. Lawali loses to Drakash. It loses against Volorend. It barely does over half with a Hypoxia to Nidrasil. Just sad. It means that after like any amount of chip, it still hardly does anything. Nesla threatens Volorend more. Wally seems really good still. It was basically just because of Volorend. Since I have double Earth, I needed something to hit Volorend. Otherwise, because like Volorend completely walls Volphy, it completely walls Lawali. If it's a special defense set, it hurts Zenareth bad, so I basically only have Mitty to deal with it then. Because I'm running a slow Nesla, it would actually be really good to get rid of the Drakash here. We're gonna see the Volorend into one of the slots, I just don't know which one. Yeah. Ah! Oh, that's whatever. I guess he's just doing it for Faraday synergy. How much does this do? 89 down to 55. $89 down to 55. I'm isolated, so I can't swap in and get Deluge synergy. He could just swap to Volorend now, after baiting in with the Mashuk. But this double in should kill Mashuk. Because I did 45% with Plague's Soil Steam. Yeah, shoot, he definitely swaps to Volorend. There's no reason for him not to. He gets holds off. Oh, he stays in. Please kill. Oh, 2 health, man. Just at least kill the Mudrid. Oh, well, he gets synergy though. So it does toxic ticks and pushes off my... Well, the neutralize doesn't matter, but the toxic ticks does. Ah. Yeah, that is so lame. Everyone is calced to live against me perfectly, I swear. I don't know, I probably should have swapped Budred out this round. Because it just dies to whatever 2-wires got for it. Happens so often, yeah. I mean, this is just like a max HP, high special defense invest Mashuk. It has very little offensive invest. If any at all, actually. It's just meant to be a pure support. It's definitely parrier. He just takes advantage of it being a toxic. His 2-wire takes an OX here. So I'll be able to reposition and possibly get into a better board state next turn. Yeah. And that puts it in range to die to a neutral hit when it comes back in. So we definitely see one of the toxics, probably Nidrasil. Very likely Nidrasil. We see Nidrasil come in. If I lead Mitty Zenarith, then he swaps the 2-wire for Drakash. So I can't put it to sleep. Yeah, I don't know. The Mashuk living ruined the entire game. Because that basically killed my Volphy. If he didn't have... If the Mashuk didn't die, or did die, I would have taken a non-synergy Faraday, which only would have done like a third, like 30, maybe 40% of Volphy's health. But instead it got the Toxic Ticks and the Uppercut taken from it, so... Big yikes. Spores is interesting. The allergic spreads now. He tinks, okay. I can live a Fiery Soul from Drakash. It always had to happen this way. I need to take less than half. Okay. Alright, Mitty's really got to pull through in the end game here. Okay. As long as this 2-wire isn't faster and has turbine, I should win. If it is, I lose. Yeah, okay. I'm getting outspeed tiered all day too. The other option was that I'd try an Electric Storm. I guess I... No, I could have just matter teleported the Volar in that turn. And then this turn also just... the 2-wire with a matter teleport and just hoped I could live 2 hits from the Volar end. A tornado and an HKS, which is kind of hard to say if I would. I would have. 100%. This match was very, very unlucky. This player has very good spreads. I'm not sure why he's in, what hit breakpoint he hit on his 2-wire. Maybe he wanted to outspeed his Mashuk. He has turbo. Well, even if you have turbo, like what are you trying to outspeed? I guess he could have hit like 190. My Nestle's 182. 190 is the breakpoint to outspeed 221s. Well, I don't know why you have turbo on that team either though. It's like it's a slow toxic tick team. You don't need to be faster. It's just really weird design choices that won't pay off a whole lot. Because 190 is not... It's not a great breakpoint to hit unless you get some advantage going faster. Because it makes you have to take out of either HP or attack. So you either lose against faster or slower matchups. The only matchups you'll win are the matches against another team that's another mid-range that has middling speeds like mine. That it just so happens to work out that you have the extra 100 invest in speed to win matchups you didn't even expect. If I knew what speed people were hitting on their 2i evolutions, I would probably raise my Nesla to outspeed that. But I just don't know, because everyone's all over the place. I still think that like on 2Vine, running next to no speed is good. Because if you invest more than 100 points in speed on your 2Vine, you're taking away from bulk or damage. And if you take away from damage, you start to lose the one-shot on Nestles and Golzies. And if you take out of HP, you die to the double Mastion, double Hazrat in the aggro teams. So it's really like you're losing more matchups than you're winning, I think. But you do get the surprise factor on ladder. Also in best of 3, those weird speed tiers won't work nearly as well. At least the two Grunders we faced earlier didn't have speed invest. Although I think that's actually more reasonable to have speed on it. Because Grunder's a common Tem, and there's a lot of Tems around its speed tier that you can invest like 50 or at least less than 100 speed and still gain an advantage. Something like 2-wire, it doesn't make sense. So Tems at speed break point, or like a base speed of like 60 to 65 is about average. That's right around Volfi's speed tier. I think Volfi's like 62 base speed or something. There's actually a lot of Tems in that range, and most of them don't invest speed with the exception of like Volfi that I was saying. So as long as you, and that speed break point I think is like 170. To outspeed a base 65. So then what you kind of have to look at when speed tiering is what is faster than those, but something that doesn't run max speed. So you're looking basically at the base 66 to base like 79, things that don't run speed. There's not a whole lot of them. I know Mashuk's in there, bulky Mashuk. Momo's another one. Actually, I think those are actually like base 80 something speeds. So like those are decent breakpoints to hit, I suppose. But Momo doesn't have type advantage, and it's also not super common. And Mashuk doesn't have any priority, so if you have any priority, you'll gain an advantage. Alright, so he immediately notices my nature weakness and takes action. Lawali's really good for me here. You don't like to play just hoping they have no speed? Well, it's not even hoping they have no speed. It's just hoping that they hit a reasonable breakpoint. There's a lot of people that invest like 200 plus speed on a bulkier Tem. And then they sacrifice either HP or damage. Like if I see a Turok that's not running Gravel Bag that is 190 plus speed, that is, in my opinion, that is jank. That is not normal. Because Stoneball is low prio and Rockfall now doesn't even have synergy, so it's one less reason to run it. That's you. I don't mean to call you out, but I just don't think it's generally a great plan. Because what are you going to outspeed that is going to give you an advantage in more games than having that extra 200 TVs in bulk wouldn't give you? There's not a whole lot. Base speed Raiken. But like Raiken Turok already wins the matchup against Raiken. And it usually runs prio anyways. It's not enough to outspeed Momo. It's enough to outspeed anaerobic Volerans, but anaerobic Volerans is gone. Kind of the same thing with Tuvine. Like if you're investing 200 plus speed, what are you outspeeding? If you invest up to 232, you could outspeed stuff, but that's 300 TVs in speed. And Tuvine loves bulk. And it loses a lot of KOs, especially on neutral things. If it doesn't have it. I should have banned one of his waters. I'm too busy trying to explain speed tiers while also being mildly tilted. I already got my 2 wins, so it's like fine. It's just don't understand. Like I know that I have room to improve on making my own spreads, but I think speed tiering is something I'm better at. I think putting needless points in, you could invest like up to a ton of speed. He has like 275 with a +2 and 320 with a +3. But you then only have an earth move every other turn if you're not running Gravel Bag. $105 invest. 105 invest only gets you up to Uh, up to 183. Yeah, I was trying to do the math. Because it's 162 plus 10 per 50 plus 1 extra. So yeah, 183. You're sacrificing like 21 HP or 23 special defense on Turok in order to be faster than stuff only after a turbo. And most of those things you'd actually outspeed after a turbo regardless. Unless you're facing somebody else with someone else with weird speed turnings. Interesting. He probably has embers on the Scaravolt, so I think I die to a Sledge Gift embers on Zenith. Or he might just attack the Wally because it's really good against his team. It's triple electrics. So that's really bad. Okay. Nesla basically walls Scaravolt. Actually didn't Sludge Gift, which is interesting. And it didn't have Embers, but it doesn't matter because Nestle's still a good swap for that. You definitely swap Scaravolt here. I'm assuming into Nesla. Because Nesla would eat the Aquatic Whirlwind. And it's not weak to the T-Strike, which was if I predicted his swap. Nice. That's a little greedy. Definitely greedy. Got like max speed on all his Tems. For clarification, my Moala also would have lived a Plague. He would have had a Dust Vortex because he Electric Stormed if he wanted to kill it. So his Nesla definitely outspeeds me. It's a squishier Nesla. Problem is if he actually has a fire move on this Scaravolt and he just didn't click a turn 1. He could have Meteor Swarm. That would be bad. Yeah. I can live it, but it hurts. Just have Nestle 1v2 Scara and Gazuma. Yeah, I know. Yeah. I knew that would swap in. It's actually Synergy Master though, which is interesting. Bro, what is this? It's also a max speed Adoro? Or Gazuma? Why? Is this gonna be a highly speed invested Adoro as well? I hope not. Our speed is in the Lawali, it's 232. Ah, Denigrate. That was a good play. Even though I'm -1, I think a Sea Spikes plus an Electric Storm kills Adoro. His Sweatband on the Gazuma, that's so strange. Don't greed in T-Strike. Yeah, I think I'm okay greeting, but I think he's faster. He's learned from the past. He is faster. He actually has speed invest on the Adoro. I have two options here. Or I should say he has two options. He can either kill Xenareth, and if he kills Xenareth, then I want to Water Blade into Aquatic on his Scaravolt. Or he can double Nesla, in which case I would want to Aquatic now. I don't have enough stamina. It's possible I live the double anyways, but a Fire Tornado plus from a +2 Scaravolt plus a Tornado from a Gazuma is kind of rough. I guess I could just self T-Strike. Oh, you know what? That's actually correct. Thank you. Unless he's got speed on the Scaravolt. I might not even live the Meteor Swarm, honestly. I don't trust that Nessa would have lived. I think Xenareth can, though. Yeah. And then while this doesn't do a whole lot because I'm -1 and he's +2, it is enough. So GG's, Kip saving me with the soft T-Strike play. I mean, if I didn't do that, the other option was just to... I was still taking a 50-50 on what I attack there, because if I used Aquatic and Deluge on the... and Spikes on the Scaravolt, I still could have killed the Scaravolt with the next C Spikes. I don't think it would have mattered anyways. Go to some speed tiers just to see what kind of jank you're running. The goofy banner. It's consistent. But see, I don't understand, like, this seems like an insane amount of speed. Like, you don't survive anything here. And then, like, this Turok is so much slower than the rest of the team. It's also kind of strange. Ignore the hedging. Yeah, move flank going this fast. That's also kind of nuts. I think probably dies to a denigrate. It's interesting for sure, especially so that you're having success with it. Losing to Digi? No, not with those speed tiers. Well, you could actually, but they just banned the Oshiara. It looks like it just loses to the bulky offense teams, though. Like, an opposing Turok looks really threatening. Going first is the strongest thing you can do in Temtem. I don't... If that was the case, then bulky offense wouldn't be so strong. Raid boss. Here's what we see of Mind Band here. Nesla. I have double nature, so Gario's not too bad. Double earth. He's kind of don't want to be forced to bring earth, so I think I'm banning one of the fires. He's got double melee, and then that my Mudred gets outsped by his for sure. There's only one synergy for Kapire, but there is the option that it could be like a... It looks like he's actually got like a double heat up option. Speed is always the answer. I disagree. Because even if you're fast, if you can't kill your opponents, it doesn't matter. Or control them, or do anything of value. You have enough bulk to take one, so you always get 2 hits off. Like one neutral hit, yeah, but not one super effective. And any double in from a neutral kills. Ayo, like cube. I just noticed the 4 Earth Weeks on this team. Wolfie gets banned 100%. That makes Mudred more threatening. Speed is cringe. I think there's a lot of unnecessary speed that gets invested on a lot of Tems. I think hitting a reasonable breakpoint is smart, and anything more than that is jank. That's kind of the argument, summary. Unless you're going max speed. Max speed is, well, as fast as you can get. It's not like you can do anything other than that. Something on this team has energy drink, and I don't know what it is. Also, there's a very high chance that this Gario is Kaleidoscope. Your Van Mat yesterday was 207. Because other things are 205. What other things are 205? What I'm noticing is that most people seem to have like, or seem to just force the 221 breakpoint or more. Because that's something I typically avoid. Most of my stuff hangs around 200. You want to creep 206? Like, what does the speed on this Capire do now? It's a trade, but... Oh, he predicts a swap. No! I doubled in, that's cheating. See, that's what I'm saying. It's not cheating. That is literally how it works. Oh... I want to keep Lawali alive for sure. I don't need Mudred alive for anything. He's kind of nice for Valash actually. Also, it wasn't Kaleidoscope Gario, so I was wrong. Well, this works out. Oh, and Shaolant had hook. Yeah, good times. Esagatame. Interesting. He doesn't kill the Mudred, he just cripples it. Who are pressing and prevalent in the meta? Oh, Speedy Shaolant, okay. You must have predicted a swap for like the 4th time in a row. Or Mudred. Unfortunately, with the damage that Gario's able to deal now, I will die to sea spikes from Valash. Oh, maybe not. Rockfall's kind of weak. If he has Sea Bite though, I'll die to that. There's very little reason for me not to click Allergic Spread. And to try and outspeed with the Transient. I think. Oh, if he Crystal Spikes, I survive. If he Crystal Bites, I die. I think he's gonna be greedy. He might go for the greedy scaling play. Just because he needs to catch up. No, he goes for the kill. That's the only reason he's swapping Oshiara right now. Nope. What's the damage on the Wally? Wow. See, and this is where speed gets you. If you invest too much. Like, this Valash was very fast, but it was also very squishy. This Oshiara, very fast, but it's also squishy. And then you get to a bad type matchup and it does nothing for you. Can't hear me complain about speed up here in D3. Yeah, tell you what, you run LC Tems for like 3 weeks and then... Like, bro, this Gario's faster than my Mawala. Like, Panther, is that you? It's got bait. GG's. My Mawala's not super fast, it's 181, but that's still, like, how much invest? Just... That is a minimum of, like, 287 invest on this Gario. Like, that's an awful example. But... if you're using, like, I don't know, is it? I guess the argument is that there are no reasonable breakpoints outside of 221 and 232 anymore, because people don't run base speed, so you can't outspeed base speed on something. You can't invest base speed and expect to outspeed. But this is going to be my last game. I'm going to have to drive home for the weekend. And I got to pack some stuff up, so I'll have to head off after this. But overall, been a pretty good stream. I'm learning better how to play the team. I'll have to submit the team code too. I think the TVs are all fine. I could mess around with speed tiers all day, but I'd rather just complain about them instead, right? Comp champ mentality. Oh, we get a rematch against the Rem. Alright, bye bye, Cash. So I know that this is a pretty fast 2-vine and a max HP, max speed landing Mimit. A-shot Strangle Mitty could have been something to test. I don't think so. It needs fake beard. I have like 100 stamina invest on it anyways, and it's still bad. Like, even Mitty has bad stamina. Or Sanbi. Even Sanbi has bad stamina. So Mitty just has even worse. And A-shot Strangle is just like a band-aid on any team that has... or any team that has Strangle. You know, when we go and raid your Rem after this, it'll be kind of funny. It'll be like, if he wins, it'll be like, you beat me, here's my viewers, sort of thing. And if I win, it'll just be like, almost rubbing it in his face, like, haha, we beat you. Now we're here to rub it in your face. I don't know. Mitty might be in need of a band-aid. I just don't think I think Mitty feels good. Genuinely. Also the 2Kai is more than 232 speed invest. We could see a neutral and Aohi, but then Mitty's actually a really good pick, so soft touch is a good trait. It is. It's a very good trait. If it was on a stronger Tem, I think it would. Like, Tataru's not really strong. It's not a great time to take advantage of it because you're forced to have like a Hypno user or a Jinx Whisper user with it. And it's not like you're using it for the damage boost, it's more of a, they happen to be asleep, and I know I'm not going to kill it in enough turns before it wakes up. In the season, we'll get Mitty usage and win rate. I don't know. It's like I had the 8-2 day to start out, and then I bring back the team and I go like 1-7. So I mean that already balanced out. Like my win rate's probably close to 55% this season. You have like 3 matches on ladder for it. Is that all the 3 against me during the LC week? Madrid's gone. That makes sense. I'm getting dripped out. Yeah, he did switch up his outfit. Kind of cool. I think I banned 2Kai, and then picked Tolkien. Even versus Starla once, fought for your life. Starla switches teams so often, and you never know what she's really running. So, for reference, my Volphy speed breakpoint also outspeeds Inky, because Inky, unfortunately, is just slower than lots of stuff it normally wants to outspeed. She had turbo and you had turbo. You had to turbo your tat like 3 times to outspeed. Or you could have just invested HP instead. Speed hater. Yep, that's me. Speed hater McGee. Alright. Lawali I actually don't need for anything. So I'm gonna keep it in. I just don't know what I'm gonna do with Mitty. Don't make me snipe you with 500 speed everything. Like I said, that's gonna have to be the last game. I gotta pack up and bring some stuff home. It'd be nice to get chip on Aohi. I think I actually just plague it. So when he swaps out the Scunch... Actually, I probably want to bring in Volphy here, don't I? Or even Tolkien. I think I have to bring in Tolkien here. As long as it's not a spec Inky and he's not faking it out with the double neutrals, I should be able to... And... Because if he matter teleported and DC beam Tolkien, it would die. I think I can live with Quetzal DC beam and I'll outspeed a Sparkling Bullet. Perfect. Perfect. Now I tornado the Aohi and just swap to like Wolfie, I guess. Another full speed gamer. Yep. Yep. So Fiery Soul doesn't one-shot Inky. Usually it runs pan sunscreen. Aww. I was expecting a sharp stabs and he would just stay in and get the Ignis. But maybe he wasn't confident that the sharp stabs would kill. So he brought in and got Sparkling Synergy. Still good for me though, because it went on to Volphy. Now we're kind of playing chicken. Like, it's pretty obvious to swap the Inky here. Oh, well, he could Paizo. Yeah. Yeah. Pizza. It's always, like, most Fizz Inkies have to choose between Mineral Hail or Paizo. And it's like 50-50 on which one they're running. Because I'm not stream sniping, I couldn't tell you which ones he's got. If he has Paizo though, he can definitely outspeed and one-shot token. But he dies to Inky. If he swaps he dies to Volphy. If he swaps Inky, he can survive. You don't need DC. It was DC if he has if he was a special set. Mineral Hail. Is that what you're saying? You don't need Mineral Hail? Did I say DC? I don't know. You don't run DC on a physical set. Oh, he's turning on my stream, guys. That's what's taking so long. Yeah. It was 50-50. If I swapped my Volphy and got the Fire Tornado on his Scunch, I would have won that really hard. Good, Volphy died. Why is that good? Because now I can bring in Mitty. So unless this is High-Toe Scunch, I'll be good here. But that's one of my Inky counters down. So slowly I'm running out of options. I have Tolkien, but I need chip on Inky if Tolkien's going to finish it off. Plus now the Paizo's up, he gets a kill whenever he feels like it. 74. Okay, C-Spikes will kill the move flank. Probably just see a P-Jab into Zeno. No, Savage, okay. Not in range to die to Sharp Stabs. So now we see how he brought in. He and then it's another 50-50. Yeah, basically. Yeah, it's all 50-50s. You guys strangle out, he is safe if Inky swaps. Oh, this is interesting. There's no way his Inky lives with C-Spikes, right? And a Sharp Stabs doesn't kill from this health. I don't need Mitty for anything, so I still just MT just in case. Maybe he thinks his Inky will outspeed. Doing a bait here is just not a good play for him. He just takes the Mitty, I guess. Yeah, he does die. I have to be careful. His Mimic could easily transform into my token now. Or that. And then the Wally has issues. Windburst should kill Moonflank at this health, right? Well, he swaps the other way. Interesting. How does he kill Tolkien now? He doesn't even kill Zeno. Stupid 0 defense Mimic. Or 0 offense Mimic. I mean, I just tornado the Auhi now. The real Auhi. Double Auhi probably wins from here because of Ignis. No way, his Mimic runs out of stamina. And it doesn't deal any offensive, it doesn't have any offensive pressure at all. He has no priority either. Why does F-Soul matter? He doesn't have stamina to win this game. I have Lawali, if you guys forgot. Yeah, GG's. Right, well, I wish I could stay for more, but that's gonna be it for today. I should be on tomorrow to be able to get a few games in before the tournament. And I look forward, well, I won't be streaming during the tournament. I will record all my matches and post them to YouTube as normal. I gotta remember to send in this code. Aha, there's my lock squad code. Don't try and type that in because you won't be able to. Thank you all so much for showing up. Hope you guys have been enjoying the MIDI content, and I hope you guys will enjoy what I've got for the regional. I know that's I think both East and Lore Weaver are going to be streaming it or casting it, so you guys can check out them. Yeah, so just start the raid now. And like I said earlier, Yurem's a top-ranking player. I was 4th in the Invitational. He was actually 3rd, so you could argue he's a better player than I am. We just fought against him, so if you're looking for some other high-ranking Temtem content, definitely hop in the raid, check him out. But yes, that's going to be all for me. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. No hard feelings? Yeah. See ya.